Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Logcast. This week we have
Josh Oberhofer,
Cornell,
Mark Martin,
and Stephen Bueno.
Ma.
So let's just put it out there, guys. We just finished watching the season finale of The Walking Dead. And stop before we say anything. Yes, there's gonna be spoilers for this for the next couple of minutes. So just skip forward.
a lot of minutes.
We'll put in the timeline where we stop talking about spoilers. Spoilers from here on out. So, who do you think Negan killed?
I feel like I'm being edged. I don't know if you get Google edging. That's what's happening.
right.
a 7th month.
Yeah.
I'm so close to. Could you just give me?
And then like a good punch. Yeah.
Blue balls. A good Negan blow.
Yep.
Blue balls.
Lucille.
You definitely. So the biggest thing that was happening in the season, or that we all thought was going to happen in the season, happens, but you don't get to see who it is. And as we talked about it before, I was cool with that. I think that was a super cool move by the showrunners. Obviously, you guys don't agree with me so much.
No. We didn't mind it. We didn't mind it at all.
I disagree. Definitely disagree. This could have been their
would be a
red
argument.
wedding moment destroyed. Could have been their greatest episode ever. But now we're going to get another cliffhanger. Thank you, AMC.
No, legitimately. Thank you, AMC. That shit was great.
No, I mean, it does make you want to come back. I think I was kind of done with The Walking Dead before this season. And they kind of pulled me back in because season 5 was legit all the way through except for the Morgan episode.
Where you go.
But everything else was great.
You didn't like the Morgan episode?
God, it lasted too long. It was a 90-minute episode. This was a 90-minute episode.
When he was the one where he was in the cage, right?
Yeah.
And then he was getting trained.
The cheese maker.
Despite all his rage,
And that might be one of those things that maybe you and I would probably like a little bit more because I like talking about what that means, what that represents. I like analyzing. But if you don't really give a crap about that, I don't know why I avoid.
You don't care about characters.
No. Not that I don't care about characters. They already showed him, and didn't explain exactly why he was like that. But you already knew he was like that. So it's like you guys are.
I like seeing it go from point A to point B, and I like that.
Yeah, but they went from point B to point A. That's what I didn't like. It's backtracking, and it just didn't need. Didn't need a full episode.
Do you like Tarantino movies? Yeah, I agree. Maybe it probably didn't like.
I get it.
It didn't need a.
I got it.
It didn't need a full hour-long episode in the middle of a lot of shit going down. That's why I didn't like it. It kind of
They do that a lot. They do that a lot.
It put the brakes.
I'll give that to Cornell because there was a really solid shit going on this whole season, and then it's like break. So what happened with Morgan? By the way,
We need a whole episode where no shit is gonna go down. It's like okay.
Oh, it's a goat. We have to eat the
It's a
goat.
belly goat.
All life is precious.
Except for that goat, gonna eat the shit out of him.
All life I choose is precious.
All life is precious.
Which branches off into the finale that we just watched, where he all life apparently is not precious anymore.
Fuck that guy.
That guy in particular, not that precious.
No, and he didn't even shoot him in the head, man. That neck shot. Woo.
He eventually got there. He went
it did him in
a
the
couple
head?
body
I just
shots, and then
saw
he
the
shot him in the throat.
Yeah, and then
I didn't really see a direct headshot
All right,
after
so
that.
we're talking a lot about The Walking Dead, and I like where we're going with this. But
I like what you're doing, but stop.
but here's a good one though, and this is gonna get spoiler heavy for just about fucking everything that we've seen.
But you already knew
now.
that.
What do you think has been what season finale has stuck with you the most from any show you could really think of?
Season 4.
Season 4 of
Season 4 of The Walking Dead. Oh, that way you're talking about
No, just in general.
in general?
Or what episodes from TV shows that have left you just reeling from what you just watched? Obviously, Game of Thrones is a big contender.
Okay.
Let's go outside of Game of Thrones.
I have a good one and I have a bad one. Good one, Breaking Bad, because it just wrapped everything up so nicely. Bad, Dexter. It did not wrap up everything the way that you expected to.
Wait, are you
Season
saying
4
series finales or season finales?
Yeah. Series
Either one.
finales.
I mean, either one.
I'm
Either
saying-
one.
I was just making sure.
I'm just saying series finales in
Season
general.
4 of Dexter when he's taking his kid to that little kid's party and he's taking his baby and they're all playing that game with the sheet and the rainbow sheet. And I feel like that would have been a great ending to the show because it's sort of like I'm acknowledging what could potentially happen with my child, but I'm also closing off a chapter in my life. I stopped watching the show there because that was the most fitting ending.
That's the one with the Trinity Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was by far the best season on that show.
Stop hitting the table, goddamn.
Okay, sorry.
So basically, for me, it would be probably the second season of Degrassi High, where the guy he had AIDS and no one wants to be around him because he's in the early '90s. So everyone thought if you're gay, you have AIDS or whatever. And so basically, he goes to the prom with like his best friend, and they're like, "Look, we're gonna show people that just because you have AIDS, there's nothing wrong with you." Even though people treated him like shit,
You're not even kidding, are you?
But there's nothing
You're
wrong
not
with it.
I'm not kidding, Steven. Guilty pleasure. Can't help it.
Wheelchair Jimmy.
I think for me it was. I don't even think it's much more of a season finale, but it's Breaking Bad when Matt Damon shoots.
Matt Damon? She's the little kid?
No,
the girlfriend.
Yeah,
Sorry, nothing personal.
I don't know. Yeah.
It just goes up to.
Yeah.
Which I mean, kind of was a big
right
plot
over
hole.
there. Oh, nothing personal. Brr. I even have a reaction video on Instagram, even though I'd seen it before.
Did you say yours?
It was still shocking.
I have not, only because I can't think of anything aside from Game of Thrones.
I like how he's the one that said no Game of Thrones. He's like, fuck.
Doctor Who?
No.
You watch Doctor Who? Don't
Okay.
What about from The Walking Dead besides this one?
Well, I'm actually Doctor Who. There's actually it's not season finale, but it's a 2-episode season finale. So the first half of the episode, and there's this big mystery, and I believe it's season 5. So the whole season they're building towards this thing called the Pandorica, and it's supposed to be like this prison housing the greatest villain in history, and it turns out that it's him. Like the Doctor is the biggest villain, and he's the one feared across the universe by the most people. And so the Pandorica opens, and it's actually Amy Pond in there talking to. She goes back in time and talks. I believe of herself as a child, and she tells her, and she's like, "Okay, pay attention. Like I have to tell you something." And it's like, so how the fuck did it go from she's at this place right now, she's in the prison, and now she's with this little girl. Now there's all this shit's going down. And you're like, so what the fuck? And then but yeah, it's obviously a show about time travel, but just the fact that it's this prison that closes, and I believe at the end of the episode, the Doctor's in there, and you're like, so how the fuck did he get out? And the show does that a lot, in that you don't know how the fuck they're gonna get out of this situation.
How come they can't
Fuck
get a
you! You
bigger
didn't talk about
budget
the
for
grassy,
that
don't
show?
you?
I mean, like, they can never get good special effects for that show.
Yeah, you haven't seen the other episodes, so you can't talk. So fuck
You
you.
showed me episodes. I said, why do special effects look like crap?
Because it's television, fool. You're expecting a movie.
Did you see The Walking Dead?
Bullshit! The Walking Dead has the worst fucking special effects in anything. When they stab someone through the head, you can see the fucking sword moving while the image is like staying still.
Did you just
Freeze
see this
frame that
episode?
shit.
They have really good practical.
I'm talking about practical effects and just effects in general. They're
Practical effects
special
don't really
effects.
work.
I didn't say CG.
Special effects don't really work too well in sci-fi. Practical effects don't work as well in sci-fi.
I don't know, you could be
Except for
patient.
Star Wars.
Maybe
Star Wars has some good shit.
Iconic.
But no, Doctor Who would probably be one of the best ones. The 2-parter right there. That was.
But how about The Walking Dead? Which season had the best ending?
I can't even remember. Most.
I love. I can't remember season finale or just the mid-season break, but when Andrew or Diana's like, "Do it, Rick," and he just fucking shoots the guy in the head.
That was mid-season.
Oh man, that was fucking great for me.
No, that was season finale.
I loved it just because that whole season had built to like Rick becoming this ruthless killer, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, cool, without remorse, shoots him right in the head in front of his kids, in front of his wife and shit.
And then they loved him afterwards.
Yeah,
except for one.
Yeah, I can't really think of one besides the very first season, and that's what really that moment right there, that turn after the whole CDC kind of breakdown.
For some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm gonna watch this show till it's over. So that was really good. It was a really good one.
I almost gave up. And I remember telling Cornell, I was like, I almost gave up on the show like after season 4 because I was like, oh god damn it, man.
But season 4 wasn't that bad. It just wait.
It also wasn't that good.
I'm thinking season 5.
Season 4 is Terminus.
Yeah,
this
leading up to Terminus.
Yeah. They get to Terminus at the end of season 4.
Kill the governor.
Yeah. So the last episode of that where they're getting rounded up by the cannibals was pretty cool. Because you get to see how everything looked in the inside. You're like, okay, these cannibals are pretty fucked up. Mm-hmm. And then when they get locked into the room and Rick is like, they don't know who they're messing with. Even though there's an unedited version where he's like, they don't know who they're fucking with. I think that's a great fucking line. And then it just ends. And then the next episode,
I will say season 4 had one of my favorite fucking scenes in The Walking Dead. And that's when Carol shoots the little girl and tells her to look at the flowers. I thought that was one of the hardest scenes to watch, dude.
Just look at the flowers.
And then it became one of the most repeated lines of pop culture. Just look at the flowers.
Just look at. I mean, because you can't have that in something and not constantly reference because it was that good. It's like Would You Kindly in video games. Every person that's really into fucking video games is gonna know what the hell Would You Kindly means.
And I never even played the game.
Even if you haven't played the game, yeah, like you just know what that means.
Would you kindly?
Are you letting me read?
But yeah, I think.
What?
Season 5 was overall a great season. Season 6, they've gotten better. I don't know what they did, within these last 2 seasons, maybe they started like caring. But it got real good, and now I'm back into watching it because I was totally gone from season 2 to season 4.
I think the creators were like, all this drama, don't get me wrong, solid, but how about a little action from time to time? And then they were like, oh yeah, season 6, full of fucking action, let's do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ever since I got to Alexandria and started holding it down, there's enemies coming at them from every direction. Season 6A, the whole like Lake of Fire, finale and everything.
Oh man, that was fucking sick.
Yeah, and like Daryl with the there's like RPGs everywhere and
which they could have really used this episode, right?
Right.
Yeah, no one. Yeah, it's just really like finicky about what weapons they have from time to time. But and then season 6B. Actually, you mentioned something earlier about like an unedited version. I was really hoping we had at least one F-bomb in this episode, just for the fact that
you can at least censor it. I mean, as long as it's there.
Just like Breaking Bad did. Breaking Bad was censored.
Breaking Bad did not mind it. They definitely just put it in and just censored it.
Yeah. Negan drops a lot of it F-bombs in the comic, so I was hoping just at least one, but no.
Frogger.
No. But yeah, dude, like Negan, he's a great character. He's freaking a terrible person, but he's like, I don't know. It's not like he's a likable character, but I like him so much.
He's so charismatic, and he's like a killer, like this cold-blooded killer who gives you jobs.
And Lucille.
He's like Donald Trump. We're gonna make America great again. One bad idea, but I'm just gonna have to. And I like his rule, like he's not gonna let anyone get out of there scot-free. Yeah. One of you is gonna die, and eeny, meeny, miny, moe. And
kill my people.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about. In that episode.
All right, so right here, so we can cut it on the timeline. We're stopping the spoilers now for stuff. No more spoilers.
Yeah.
Except when it comes to DC animated movies.
We didn't even get to who do you think?
Shot Mr. Burns?
No. Yeah, I guess.
Nah. Fuck it. Much like the episode. Fuck it.
Could we link the other podcasts?
Which, yeah. We actually, that's not a bad idea at all. We'll link the podcast where we talk a lot more about The Walking Dead, because that's The Walking Dead podcast. Now, we're going to talk about DC animated movies because I think we're still around the time where we can keep talking about DC movies because of how much of a freaking just a train wreck Batman vs Superman has been. And everyone's sort of like shitting on DC, but we all forget that DC has been very good at animated movies for the longest time.
And regular live action TV shows.
DC has been killing it everywhere else that let's face it, Marvel isn't.
Can do it.
But
I mean, Marvel has Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I don't know how those shows are doing, to be honest with you.
Even their cartoons, the cartoon shows, I mean, they're not bad, but they're very much aimed towards kids, and they're not that great.
Let's face it, from the 90s, what do you remember? You remember the Batman animated TV show.
And you remember that Batman was deep and had a cool story, and then you remember Spider-Man had a cool intro.
I remember X-Men as well.
X-Men, I was going to say, is another one that I do remember.
Probably one of the most...
X-Men isn't that good. Like, the cartoon, rewatch it, it's not that good.
But it's nostalgic.
It's nostalgic, but Batman legitimately is a good cartoon.
It's like Transformers. It's like, wow, this show is really not... It's not really reaching for much here, but I mean, it's really entertaining.
I did buy the toys.
Yeah. It's really entertaining, though.
So recently we saw Justice League versus the Teen Titans. And what I'm really liking is that it's using the stories from the New 52 and it's just running with it. And you have animated movies like Justice League War and...
amazing movie.
Batman vs. Robin that deals all with the Court of Owls. And Batman Bad Blood.
Under the Red Hood.
Is that New 52?
No.
I wasn't particularly sure where they got that one from. But, even like I said, they're using all that as reference. And now they're even making the Killing Joke, which obviously I know it's before New 52. But now they're using the Killing Joke as reference, which I think everyone wanted to see that.
And they got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to voice it.
I mean, I don't read the Batman comics, but from everything that I've ever heard about the Batman comics, is like if you're gonna watch, if you're gonna read a story arc from Batman, you got to read the Killing Joke, and that's like the seminal story.
It really makes Batman who he is, and it shows how messed up Joker really is and how far he'll go. So you kind of appreciate, the main hero and villain dichotomy going on throughout his whole arc as a comic character.
What's really great about stories like that is that, and what's really great about villains like that is when they target specific things. Because sometimes you get a villain that just mass murders his thing, and like, okay, yeah, we got to stop him because mass murders is kind of bad. But when you make it really personal, and it just sort of, you feel for the character that much more, where it's like, I'm gonna kill someone that's very close to you, and you obviously relate to the main character and you want him to stop, and it makes their attack on that person so much more visceral because it's someone that they care about. It's not just like, it's not your ideals that I'm attacking, it's literally you. And the Killing Joke is essentially that.
Yeah, I mean, Joker knows Batman so well, he knows right where to hit him. So the people that he cares about.
My favorite two characters, my favorite villain, my favorite superhero, and that's all I got for this conversation.
No, for me, it's like the Joker can definitely be
He did well.
The Joker can definitely be utilized for like really great stories, like in the story, like Injustice, where the Joker has Superman kill his wife and unborn son, and Metropolis at the same time.
Yeah, he really put in work in that opening 5 minutes.
Yeah, for real. Like the first couple of things, like,
yeah,
well, just killed fucking everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, and I like seeing Superman kind of like turn and becoming the evil villain. They do that a lot in other comics, but just seeing it, especially in Injustice, the video game, when it's like animated and voiced, it really kind of brings it to life. And I kind of like seeing Superman's dark side too. So
It's
I
really
don't like that Superman can be turned so quick. Superman's kind of like,
it doesn't really take him much. It doesn't.
You know, like, oh well, fuck this, I'm killing everybody. Like, why?
I love that. Oh, you know what? Fuck you, I'm killing everyone.
yeah,
That's why Batman doesn't like him.
Because he's scary.
Because he could turn on the drop of a dime.
Fuck, I'm killing everybody.
which is smart. Which is smart. You should always have a backup plan against someone that has that much power.
Always have plan B.
But
Justice League was it Doomsday?
but even Batman,
Isn't that what that's about?
yeah, exactly. But like Batman even says, and I forget which comic, but he actually says about Superman that something about Clark Kent or Superman, his character, is that he's so powerful, but he doesn't really realize it, and that we're lucky that he's as nice as he is and as merciful as it is. There's a comic that says something like that. I probably got the paraphrasing wrong, but Batman knows he's actually a good person, but he doesn't trust that he'll always be like that.
Oh, and he kind of hints on that in the movie. Not just him, but like just.
Let's not talk about it. It gets weird.
Oh no, yeah,
It still hurts.
sexually.
I really want to talk about it, but I guess
No.
I'm
kidding.
I have some sort of segue for it, so don't worry, it's gonna get.
No, I mean that's essentially what I want to talk about. It's that movie.
we don't have to
set
go
up a
through
lot.
every beat or
No.
anything.
That movie sets up a lot, and it sets up for Injustice, and essentially that's where we want to go. And Injustice, and all the stuff talked about in Injustice is the greatest parts of that movie are that essentially. And if that's where DC wants to take it, I think if they take it the Injustice route, it could finally be a good DC movie.
Probably.
It could,
Which I think
Now-
is what they're going for.
You gotta
With
remember
the ending of Batman versus Superman hints at that.
at Darkseid and at
You
Injustice.
just gotta remember too that even the first Marvel movies that led up in the cinematic universe weren't that good.
I thought you were gonna go with Howard.
So you gotta make some clunkers before you can get a good automobile, you know. So right now,
No, but I mean, you might say that, but I think every Marvel movie had much more positive reception than.
I think more
the
because
DC.
people were like, "Oh, great, they did it," you know, and you saw it.
Actually, you're right.
The critics were the ones shitting on Batman v Superman, but the audience was the one that was loving it. So
Yeah, and critics don't care about Batman or Superman. I mean, they're still attached to Donner movies, and they're very lightly colored, happy-go-lucky Boy Scout Superman that, doesn't fight anyone. So
and the Batmans that don't kill.
yeah,
Yeah, but, that's why I see it. So like, I didn't necessarily like the Thor movie, and I never wanted to see the second one because of that. Never liked any of the Hulk movies.
The second Thor movie is actually pretty good.
I've heard it was shit too.
Yeah.
Never saw Iron Man 2, saw Iron Man 3. It was like, eh. The first one was like, eh. So, like, they're not really that great, but they're entertaining. But they got better over time. And same thing that could happen with this DC Cinematic Universe. Like, they're great at doing what they do. Maybe they should get some of the writers for the TV shows and movies to do the movies. Or TV shows and the cartoon movies to do the movies.
I disagree with that. DC has really good shows, kind of like just contrasting what
Young
you said
Justice,
earlier.
man. R.I.P. Young Justice.
Yeah,
Fuck,
man.
that was a good show.
It's okay. You can let her.
Season
go.
3, please, Patreon. I don't know, somehow bring it back.
Netflix, please.
GoFundMe. But like Arrow is really popular. The Flash is really popular. Supergirl, not so much. It wasn't officially renewed for another season, but
you
we'll
gotta
see if
remember,
like CW picks it up and kind of.
Smallville lasted forever. Very popular show.
Oh yeah.
True.
And there really wasn't much else around at the time, so there wasn't really much competition either.
Well, they had
and it was good because it was about Clark Kent.
They had
it wasn't about
what's that stupid show, Mutant X or something like that?
Animorphs?
WB I think had or something like that.
Static X.
It was basically like the crappy X-Men TV show. Like it was in the Marvel universe. It just was shit. I think the show was called like Weapon X or something like that. Weapon X or Mutant X or something like that. It was just bad.
But yeah, I wouldn't want Arrow writers and Flash writers making movies unless it was a particular character. But overall, I want the darker tone. I want the more kind of gritty and gruesome aspects of each character to be fleshed out rather than the kind of like made for TV family audience type thing.
I get that.
If you want to say that, then this is what I was going to talk about. How they're reshooting new scenes for Suicide Squad because they want to make it more humorous because of Daredevil. I mean, not Daredevil, because of Deadpool. Yes. So
Daredevil was funny.
Daredevil was funny.
You're threatening me, Ray.
Do you think there's like that's kind of the situation you're talking about where they're trying to put something in where they shouldn't have that humor?
I think they really went all in one direction and maybe toning it down just a little bit because it's a movie full of villains. So hopefully maybe
it have his moments.
Yeah, maybe when they were editing it, they were like, "There's not a lot of laughing points here." So I don't blame them for trying to.
You know what sucks about that is that you can make a movie that's comedic. Because there's been like the DC animated movie about the Suicide Squad. I can't remember, it was like Assault on Arkham or something like that. And it was comedic and it worked. And the dialogue between the characters was fun. And it's like, these are villains. Have them enjoy doing some bad shit. Yeah. Obviously, they've got to save the world.
Well, this is going to be a movie full of anti-heroes. So like you're going to root for him the whole movie.
Everyone's going to root for Will Smith and Margot Robbie.
I mean, even in the trailers, they make Will Smith look like a good guy, even though he's a villain. He's like,
he's tortured.
Yeah, it's like they're gonna humanize these characters. But at the same time, they're reshooting it so that these characters now have humor, and maybe
not feel
a lot
natural,
more.
To be honest,
yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Like it probably won't work because that wasn't the intention the first time. But
reshoots happen all the time in different movies.
No, but they're completely. It's like they're changing up that formula because of how popular Deadpool is. And I mean, Deadpool is also now the #1 rated R movie of all time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Deadpool was really good. I loved it.
And was the thing. I actually had something about because you talking about Batman v Superman, and knowing that scene where he's walking through when Batman just randomly is looking at his costume, he's like, "Oh, I'm Batman," and then he walks past the Robin costume and he has a ha 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 Joker shit that sort of happened after the fact. Yeah. So you know how there was that theory that the Joker is Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that that's a huge possibility now because of that little part in Batman v Superman?
I read somewhere on the internet that if you look at the bullet holes that are on the shoulders, they match up to the picture of the Joker.
I remember reading that reading an article about that a while back.
Look it up. You see,
there's like the same like markings on them.
Same bullet holes, right here.
I don't think. I mean, I read about it enough to understand the main like points of that theory, but I don't think it is going to hold ground in the future because to kind of eventually, I mean, then that would mean eventually we've been bamboozled on who Joker is.
Yep.
And this Jared Leto's amazing Joker is not even him, and it's just like. Yeah, I doubt that they would just kind of like sweep you under the rug.
I would much rather see Jason Todd as the Red Hood.
And then now we got to find out. Yeah, I would rather see that, but then like now we got to find out. Okay, now who really is like the Joker?
And then he comes out singing, "What if I wanted to?" Oh, it's Jared Leto.
So yeah, I think Jared Leto is. That character is Joker, and I don't think that he's actually also formerly Jason Todd or whoever he was.
It's something that I'd like to believe that he isn't Jason Todd. It might be pretty cool if he was.
It goes against most Batman mythology because you're never supposed to know who Joker is.
That's what I was going to say. You want the character that you don't know, and you want the mystery behind that character.
Yeah, you're never supposed to know his real name. You're never supposed to know his background.
Oh, sorry. It's fine. Aren't they going to reveal soon who the Joker is?
Yeah, exactly. So they're probably going to do that now, but I don't think that was their intention back then.
Nah, I doubt
it. And that's the thing. Like I was going to say that I think that in a Hollywood movie executive meeting, they're going to be like, we got to link all these universes together. We got to put so much together. And what do we do? Wouldn't it be really fucking cool if the Joker used to be Robin? Oh my God.
Write it down.
Like,
write it down. Send it to Zach.
Then who has Batman and
down.
Robin been fighting this whole time?
themselves.
The other Joker.
The other Joker,
Write
who
it
was
down.
really the Swamp Thing.
Write it the fuck
Who's
down.
really Clayface? So then, who do you use as reference?
Spoilers for
Just,
Arkham
just
City.
write more shit in there.
Well, okay, so I think it is kind of the revival, or at least getting Jason Todd to the forefront just because of Arkham Knight. Like that game set up basically, I mean spoilers, but that game was set up basically so you know who the Red Hood is. And now that happened, you see that in Batman v Superman that that's possibly Jason Todd that was the Joker, and then also with all these movies coming out, or not these movies, but the comics and stuff like that coming out, it seems like they're using Jason Todd a whole lot more. So I think they might be trying to push him out into the public.
I do believe that.
Hey, this is a badass character, and people really like him, kind of like how people knew who Deadpool was for many years. He's been out since the early 90s, but now he's pushed to the forefront because he's so out there. But I think people will like Jason Todd because the Red Hood's he's a badass in every aspect.
If this was a movie that had gotten made way after Deadpool, I would have definitely gone through that route, because it would have been like, you introduced a character like Deadpool that no one really knew about, that was just so out there, and now people are actively going back and looking for it. Now you're in a place where movie executives would think, doesn't matter what the fuck you put in there, people are going to go research it, and you just got to make it so it's enticing to an extent, and it would make people want to know about it a little bit more.
Which is, I think,
Write
what
it
they
down.
did with Batman versus Superman. It
Yeah.
was definitely a movie for the people that knew about what was going on. It wasn't like, because Marvel movies kind of hold your hand the whole way. You don't really need to know much backstory. I mean, you could, and there are some like Easter eggs and like odes to
Well,
this,
but
and
not
that.
much. It's
It's like the
mainly
deleted
for people
scene.
who don't know.
Yeah,
it.
it's mainly like it's popcorn. I mean, so is Batman versus Superman, but it's very like. That whole movie was like, what is that? What is that? The Flash is coming out. What is this nightmare? Is it really a nightmare? Blah blah. What's this character?
What's going on with Batman? That whole fucking like battle realm.
Like what's the deal with that costume? What haha, the joke's on you. Like no one, if you didn't know so many things, that the movie's just lost to you.
And actually, you might not even just see it. Just in general, you could have just been like, "Oh, there's a costume. Oh, Batman's dreaming."
and and the thing is,
You won't
like,
notice it.
Batman, like I think the general public knows enough about Batman to be like, oh, okay, well that's the Joker. Everyone kind of knows who the Joker is. It's like, oh, well the Joker probably killed a Robin. But it's when you know a little bit more about the backstory that you can make assumptions like Jason Todd. I think, yeah, let's face it, that movie is essentially what you kind of want in a movie, but you want a good movie also.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a fan of the medium, as a fan of the comics and as a fan of the character that knows so much about it, it does give you a lot, and it doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't explain it. And I've always talked about movies that don't hold your hand, and movies just throw shit at you, and they kind of make you interact with it to another level. That's what Batman vs Superman did. Except it wasn't a good movie on top of that. It was a shitty paced movie. It just threw shit in there. It didn't throw shit in there in order to augment the situation. It just threw shit in there just so you could be like, please fucking listen to me. Please fucking like this and go watch the next one.
Which we will.
I definitely thought.
Yeah, we will.
The first time I saw it, it was the first half of that movie. It was just so like, Lois is here, now Lois is here. She's fucking brandishing this plastic bag every 5 seconds. And
she's a coke dealer. Just
where's this metal from? And
How much for a dime?
and
all I have is a
Superman
dime.
is going through concrete walls, and everything is kind of like blending together, kind of incoherently. But after I watched it the second time, and I already had the sort of general outline of what was going on, then that's when the movie kind of slowed down for me, and I was able to notice more of the finer details and keep track of the story more. And now I'm not saying that every movie should be easier to comprehend watching. I mean,
now let's go about it a different way. As far as the tone that DC's taking, and we're hearing about these reshoots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, first I'm gonna make 2 questions here. The first one: do you think these reshoots would have happened? Do you think we would be hearing about these reshoots happening had Batman vs Superman not had the negative reviews that it got?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Now, do you think these reshoots would have happened regardless? Like you said, movies go through reshoots all the time. Now, do you think that this information is being put out there much more so because of what happened?
Well,
with Batman
from
vs.
how they put it, it's not like it's a small reshoot. It's a major reshoot. Like they're redoing a whole bunch. Like
I mean,
reshoots.
I haven't really seen any details about how many minutes or scenes are being
Yeah.
reshot, but movies get reshot certain scenes, or certain people get brought back to redo something, very often. But the fact that it was publicly announced to the media that is what makes that a big deal, because I think because of the backlash and the bad reviews from Batman versus Superman, what Warner Brothers wants to do is kind of be like, whoa, calm down. Normally we do reshoots on stuff, but now we're actually going to tell you that we're doing reshoots because we want you to kind of like be more hopeful for the next DC movie, and we're hopefully it's going to be more well-rounded and not so one direction or black or white or whatever.
Same question.
I don't know.
The question was, do you think we're hearing a lot more about these reshoots because of the negative reviews?
I said yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Wait, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think that would have happened no matter what. I mean, maybe if the film was good, it would have just been like, they're just trying to like amend it, maybe. But it would have been something like major. But if you're comparing it to, well, I guess for them it was comparing it to Deadpool, then yes, like, I think they should go that way because of Deadpool. And because that movie needs to be a little bit more humorous because of why the fuck
Harley Quinn?
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like
that was hard for me.
Like I said, it's like the anti-hero Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
and that there was a lot. It was fun. Like, it was just humor. And I know that in the trailer for Suicide Squad, it looks fun, but I forget where I heard it, but it's like if you watch the first trailer and the second trailer, the first trailer, same as I felt, it looked like garbage and it wasn't entertaining to me. But the second trailer was like all these like street scenes, things are blowing up, people using powers, and it's like
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, it's like everything's cool, but that's what Guardians of the Galaxy did. They have the Bohemian Rhapsody in here. Oh, it was Magana, right? He was like Bohemian Rhapsody for this, and then it was they had gotcha.
Yeah.
Like everything was. They just made the trailer fun, but you could cut something to look fun. Like, it's not hard. It could still be a shit movie. I mean, the first trailer for Batman v Superman, the second one, the third one were all garbage. But that last trailer where Batman was kicking ass, I was like, I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm. And then that was one scene.
I know, right? I was like, damn, that's the end.
Batman's also going to be in Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
for a little bit.
Time. He's on top of the limo like this.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
And okay, so my second question here is, as far as the dark tone that DC has put into place and has started with already, and you could tell they were banking on it heavily, even for Suicide Squad. Now, do you feel like they should try to abandon as dark of a tone and try to go the Marvel route a little bit more?
Yeah.
No, I think it's too late.
It just depends with what they're working with.
Different audiences.
You can't have a lighthearted Batman.
Well, no, that's my point.
No, I'm with you. I'm saying, like, it'd be weird to have like a Batman movie where he's kind of like campy, like the movie's campy, but he's still brooding and killing. Like, that'd be kind of weird.
That's Lego Batman. Yeah, like.
That'd be like watching the Batman versus Batman.
As light of a tone as Marvel movies.
No, but even
lighter
like
than Batman versus Superman.
I wouldn't dig it.
Like, let them make their I mean, dark is one way to put it, but I like the word grounded more when I talk about DC movies. But
like
they're making Lego Batman. That's probably going to be a lot better than a lot of other Marvel movies that have been out, or at least as good, and as far as just entertainment value. So it's not like they can't do both. They can, but they just have a purpose and an objective. Because Christopher Nolan is still behind the scenes on a lot of different things. Like Zack Snyder and Nolan talk a lot about different decisions that they want to make and stuff like that. So I don't want to see two different comic book universes go for the same tone all the time. Because then it doesn't make a difference. And I'm a fan of both, but I want to see Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman in a more grounded universe, a universe that I feel like we could live in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna get. I feel like it's more realistic.
It's kind of like with like Daredevil and Jessica Jones. They're in the same universe, but they're a whole lot different than the actual.
It's like
universe.
I was gonna say, like, it's like Jessica Jones is filmed in more of a detective-y style, where Daredevil is like, man, this is some type of action, TV show. Versus what you're saying about that tone of living in reality, and that's what I like about this universe. It feels like it's grounded, like you're saying, it's grounded in that it's believable. I can be like, oh, there's a town someplace out there where this guy is doing all this crap and all this is happening, versus like, you have a small town where you have a god that came out the sky and he's fighting this armor suit thing. I can't.
The fuck is that?
It just
the way like their costumes are and their characters, like, I mean, if we had the old school Superman with like his underwear outside, it's like bright red, and he's like, I'm an alien. It's kind of like, no, but like the etching on the suit and everything sets up a universe.
Sick ass Superman costume.
Yeah,
and I like Superman, and I like that costume. I really like this Batman costume too.
Same.
It's hard. Yeah.
It was textured in a weird way.
It
But it was-
textured where it just
You know what it looked
you
like?
can see the damage.
Have you
and
ever
everything.
have you ever broken up a tennis ball?
Yeah.
And you see the inside, there's a bunch of rubber bands wrapped around each other.
Yeah.
No, I
That's
didn't know that.
what Batman. Oh, okay. So one time my dog chewed one up. So the only reason, and he stopped chewing it because he ripped one of the rubber bands, and I guess it just ripped on his mouth, and he was like, "Fuck this!" So I picked it up, and it ripped in my hand, and it hurt. But after it stopped ripping, I remember picking it up, and it was just a ball of rubber bands.
Fucking
Yeah.
spoilers, Steven. I didn't know that. I know
Yeah.
there's rubber bands inside of a tennis ball.
golf ball.
Golf ball.
I didn't know there's rubber bands.
There's nothing inside of a tennis ball.
I don't fucking know.
The emptiness you feel inside, that's inside of a tennis ball. Now
What were we talking about? Oh.
we're talking about
It's my old friend.
we're talking about DC and like the dark tones they kind of take, the dark tones that their movies take, and I'm kind of in the middle here. Like I think that the Suicide Squad movie can have more comedic tones, but I do genuinely love the dark tone that the DC universe typically takes, and especially in their movies. We tend to think darker tones because of the Batman movies. We forget that the fucking Green Lantern movie was a DC movie that was lighthearted. That sucked balls.
That's because Ryan Reynolds has a certain humor that doesn't work like that. Like his humor is.
I don't
that
think
There were a lot of
Ryan Reynolds
other
was
things going
the
against that
problem
movie.
with
No,
that
I
movie.
mean, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, and I don't want to see it.
Oh yeah,
I've
you don't
seen
have
the
to.
But
first half.
I
Like
know
5
how
times.
Ryan Reynolds is, and even in Ryan Reynolds made a couple of unsuccessful superhero movies, right? He was in X-Men Origins, he was in Blade Trinity, and he was in fucking Green Lantern.
Holy shit. he
So
was in Blade.
he was three different DC movies, one Marvel
And
movie,
Marvel.
2 different Marvel. Okay, I lost myself for a second.
Two.
Anyways,
Two.
he was in shitty movies, and his humor is all. He was the same guy in every movie, just a different costume. So it just kind of worked in that red one. You know, he is a perfect Deadpool, but he wasn't a good.
He could have worked. He
Green
could have
Lantern, he
been a
wasn't.
great Green Lantern if there was better writing in the Green Lantern.
I don't think he's a good actor. I just think he
He
works
fits-
that role.
Yeah.
Because every time I've seen Hal Jordan, the way that I've ever seen Hal Jordan portrayed in any of the animated movies is very much in line with the way he was portrayed in the movie. And
Yeah.
what Ryan Reynolds portrayed.
The writing and the villain and the effects and everything was it just
that was something else.
they didn't put as much into
Love
that.
into
I
it.
mean, I don't even remember who the director was, but
God,
that
to
great
me-
of a movie.
to me that movie's outside of the continuing DC universe.
Well, it's
You
not-
know what?
That's been started
think-
by Man of Steel.
One of the greatest things about about Marvel doing what they did and linking all these movies together and how successful they were at it is that it forced DC to do the same.
wait, is Green Lantern Fox?
I want to say 20th Century Fox.
If it's Fox, then it was never part of the cinematic universe, so you don't have to worry about that.
But
Well, kind of like how I mean, like people just disregard the 2 Hulk
Green
movies.
Mile.
Oh well, that's because they never existed. What are you talking about?
Two or
There's 2.
Yeah, okay.
2 different actors, 2 different looking Hulks.
Second one was good. I like the second one.
but
Yes,
the second
it
Hulk
was.
movie is technically part of the cinematic
It is
universe.
because they reuse characters, but they're never gonna make a standalone Hulk movie. They've already came on that conclusion. They're like, he's just gonna stay in that plane flying that way because
I
Yeah.
hope not.
Hulk just needs to be Hulk. I don't.
Well, you think if they do a Planet Hulk movie, like
Yeah.
how would that pan out if they would to do that?
He'd have to be Hulk the whole movie.
That's why.
Well, Ragnarok is going to be pretty much that. The new movie. This
The
is why
new,
you don't. This is
Thor
why you don't
movie?
see. Yeah, this is why you don't see Hulk or Thor in any of the trailers for Civil War.
I actually have no idea what
Because it's
Ragnarok
busy.
is about. I haven't read up on that at all. Like what the source material is for that.
Well,
Apocalypse, isn't it?
the quick 30-minute breakdown is that Thor has to fight Hulk because Hulk is on a planet called Ragnarok. There's like a really big battle and like this he's become the champion of that planet by defeating so many people. Thor doesn't know that. He gets there and he finds out that he has to fight the Hulk. So the whole movie is Thor and Hulk fighting.
Oh, again.
That's badass.
That is badass. I hope to see more of it. Yeah.
I would love to see that. And then, you know what?
Well, the animated movie, like Planet Hulk, was actually pretty good. Especially
Yeah.
that fight with Beta Ray Bill. And he whoops his ass.
Production for the Green Lantern, Warner Brothers.
Warner, really?
Yep. Technically, could have been. Let's just not talk about it.
All right.
It's it's just one of those movies where it's
They
like
don't talk about.
yeah.
Well, good to know that they own the rights.
But
Sorry.
yeah, Planet Hulk was great.
You might
And
want to sell them.
okay, so we've gotten to a point where we've established characters and we know what these superheroes are like. Now, I think what's really, really great is that we're at the point where we're seeing these characters fight one another, and we're seeing these characters represent ideologies, and essentially that's what Civil War is. These characters are going to represent ideologies, and these characters are going to fight each other. Yeah, sure, it's great to see all of them band together and save Earth from this thing, but we've seen that so many times. I think it's the perfect time to explore other themes in comic books, to explore themes like these characters fighting one another, and to have DC through the first punch. It missed. Now
swung wildly for the fences,
and I'm talking about as far as using different subject matter, and as far as using subject matter where these characters are fighting one another. Now Civil War is going to be the second one to start to essentially do that. Correction, I think The Winter Soldier was one of the first movies to really do that, to pit the superhero against not necessarily another supervillain, even though don't get me wrong, it was Hydra the whole time, but to pit him against people that he was technically on the same team with. Now, how do you guys feel about that subject matter coming into the movies much more? And what kind of other subject matter do you feel like
heroes
this opens the doors
each
for?
Other, basically?
As long as it's done well, I don't care what they put into it. Like, it's just got to flow. You can put it as, a whole Avengers movie yet again, and they're fighting the world's strongest people. But if it's written like garbage and the action scenes look like shit, it's going to be a bad movie. But you can put one guy and one guy fighting against each other. And if it's, Daredevil, you literally have that kind of Spider-Man 3 scenario. You have a bunch of like people there that you have to concentrate and have your stories on. But they did that. They focused on them. They put them all together. They put them in that world, and they battled and they fought and they worked together. And in the end, it was a good movie or a good TV show. But
I think you could do that in a TV show easier.
But I'm saying if you're trying to do that in some sort of cinematic universe, you could do kind of the same thing. Kind of what they were doing for Marvel. They had their own individual things. But if you're just throwing them all together and just trying to make a movie out of it and just go and do your thing, it's not going to work out. You have Batman v Superman.
Do you think that could possibly happen? Because it's a very likely possibility with Civil War.
No, because these characters, with the exception of Black Panther and what? I can't never remember the guy's name, but the enemy with the skull and crossbones. And I think that's it. They're Spider-Man, I guess. You already know everybody.
I get that you already know them, so we don't have to set a backstory. But let's face it, Batman vs Superman also did the same thing. You already knew about it. They didn't really set a backstory for anyone, and it still failed.
No, but you didn't know that universe's version of them.
Even then,
you didn't we didn't know how that Lex Luthor was. We didn't know how that Wonder Woman was. We didn't know how that.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't know Lex Luthor's backstory, but Man of Steel set up Superman's, and then the first half of the movie was Batman. It was pretty much a Batman movie, so you know a lot of it.
But for Civil War, we know we have the full Ant-Man. We have the full.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not that the movie's going to waste time giving you the introduction to the characters. I'm saying that the movie has the potential to waste time showing you what every character's doing, as opposed to bringing them together.
My hope is that they remember. I think I brought it up in the last podcast. That they focus on the team. It's like, okay, you have Iron Man and his crew and Captain America and his crew, but they're usually together in pairs or in threes.
They're all kind of scattered.
Yeah, well, I hope it's not
as a team.
Scattered.
Yeah, as a team, they're kind of scattered
and doing their things. And it's not just like, okay, so what's on a Vision doing over in this part of the planet, and what's the Black Panther just jumped over a fucking car. Like, no, I just hope it has.
Meanwhile, in Wakanda,
yeah, I just hope it's not like that. But it's also got a 2.5 hour running time, so
I'm okay with that.
It's got enough time to.
I just hope my hands don't hurt afterwards.
I definitely do have a lot of confidence in Marvel, but I feel like that could be a legitimate concern for someone that wants to go watch the movie.
Well, anytime you dilute too many characters, you have that issue.
Yeah, because then you have what's called the Space Jam fallacy, where you just have just a mishmash of all these awesome characters that have never been in each other's universes before, and it's just kind of like, what are they doing here? And none of them really get the spotlight.
Yeah, you don't belong here. What are you doing?
It could be. Well, we were all very much looking forward to Age of Ultron, and then that happened.
Yeah, and critically, I don't remember how good that movie did, but everyone kind of left that movie theater like,
that was it?
Yeah, that was a movie that I saw.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, we're very much looking forward to Captain America: Civil War, because the last Captain America movie was great. The Marvel movies tend to be decent, at the very least. Even the worst were decent, entertaining. Yeah. So we have very high hopes for Civil War, But let's face it, and let's be honest with one another, there is a very likely possibility that Civil War won't be that, not garbage, but that it'll leave you feeling like Ultron. That it'll be like, whew, I was expecting a little bit more than that.
I don't think.
I think it's completely dependent on how
expectation.
Well, we already know that it's not going to be following the comics too closely, and the comics are kind of grim, especially toward the ending of Civil War and how it kind of ends. But
what's a lot to go through? Like,
it's so much to go through and so many characters.
And so many characters that aren't in it.
So it's really going to depend on the ratio of how much everyone's favorite character gets her screen time, and especially Spider-Man, and how it kind of like ties up these different plots, and it's everything has to set up Infinity Wars as well. So not only does that have to resolve, but it has to also lead into something else.
Dude, here's the issue, and here's why I wanted to bring this up, because it's point for point. It's everything that happened with Batman vs Superman. It's got a job to finish off timelines and to finish off its own stories. It's got some characters to introduce, like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is Civil War's Wonder Woman. That's essentially what it is. And it has the job of introducing the Infinity Wars. Now, it's got almost the exact same job to do as Batman vs. Superman.
Mm-hmm. Hey, everyone.
Okay. Hopefully. And I'm really fucking hoping that it succeeds because, like I said, it's very similar to what happened with Batman vs. Superman. And it has a lot of hype behind it. And, this is such a good franchise that you want to see the next step of it. My concern is that because of what happened with Batman vs. Superman, we might fall under the same...
Yeah, because you already know there's so many characters. So, I mean, Batman versus Superman jumped around, and there was only 3 characters it really focused on. Or 4 if you count, Lois or Lex, either one. But now you have like 30 different characters. Like now, what's the pacing going to be like in that movie?
Yeah, that's essentially my problem.
How many jump cuts are we going to have there? How many scenes are we going to land in that it felt like we were dropped into the middle of a scene and there was no beginning or ending?
Wakanda.
And we're just gonna jump around, and it's gonna be like, okay, now we're here, now we're here, now we're here, and it was already bad enough in Batman vs Superman for the first time.
Well, at least in the Avengers, they gave reason to why people were at this location. They were like, okay, we're here because there's a battle that happened over here. Let's go, save it. Versus Batman vs Superman, it was like, okay, we're looking at here and time jump, and now we're here.
Yeah, so, they drop you, and it's kind of like, okay.
I think Marvel understands that if they're gonna send somebody someplace in time, there's a reason for it, because it's what makes sense. And I don't feel like they're gonna deviate from that because they've been doing it already. So it should be good.
Yeah, Joss Whedon, I think, is the one directing Civil War. I think so. He's good as a storyteller.
He do good.
I think he's.
The Avengers, just in general, the first Avengers movies prove.
But he also did Age of Ultron.
Well, the first Avengers movie proves.
You get one.
He faltered a little bit the second time around, but the first Avenger movie definitely proves that he can make a movie where all these characters have to come together. It has to set up, essentially has to set up a franchise, and it's. Well, I mean, obviously it didn't have that whole let's add this other character in there that we can. Mm-hmm. But as far as having to tie up its own story and its own unique universe, and then having to set up further movies, it did that very well. Age of Ultron did not do that as well. Age of Ultron had the same job. Age of Ultron was, let's encapsulate our story, let's add some new characters, and let's plan ahead. Except the planning ahead didn't work out too well.
I mean, they introduced Vision, but I mean,
even then, you didn't really care too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's cool,
underutilized.
But
there you go. That was the Wonder Woman of Age of Ultron, Vision.
Yeah.
And Age of Ultron kind of faltered because of those same points. Now, essentially, you have Civil War, which is essentially the same, the same job.
Mm-hmm. Are you ever going to talk about VR?
Probably not. I want to talk about VR, but it's okay.
We've got a bit of time, but those are my concerns with Civil War. I'm still gonna fucking watch it, and don't get me wrong, I'm hoping for the best because
Weekend F.
Hey everyone.
But yeah, I'm hopeful, but I'm cautious at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of my feeling toward all, especially DC movies now. I'm hopeful but cautious. I really, really hope.
I've been hurt before, DC. I've been hurt before.
Yeah,
I'm that way with.
I'm trusting you now to not break my heart. Okay.
I really hope Suicide Squad does really good because
I really do.
It's gonna be kind of make or break at this point. And then Wonder Woman is almost done shooting. So in April 11th, Justice League Part 1 starts shooting. So. Anything could happen. We might get another director. We might get more reshoots. So
Bigger budget.
Bigger budget, yeah. I mean, hopefully. I mean, Batman vs Superman did really well. It just broke 700 million. Doesn't mean it's a great movie,
And
but
then it dropped in the second
definitely.
week.
Yeah. No, $700 million. Not returning.
Look, man, it's just got to do well in
Series.
China, and you get a sequel. Case in point,
For
Pacific
some reason,
Rim.
Asians don't really like superhero movies all that much.
I don't think they're allowed.
Maybe they're banned.
They're so oppressed. They're not allowed to.
Now, one of the last things we did want to get to, and that you had mentioned you want to talk about, was VR.
I actually want to talk about Final Fantasy 15.
Okay, so we're scrapping VR
Yeah.
because Final Fantasy 15
Final
looks fucking
Fantasy
amazing.
15.
By the way,
Kingdom Hearts 3, the one that we need.
Shush now. We just we just had the Final Fantasy Uncovered event, which happened a couple of days ago, and in that they announced they gave it a release date for Final Fantasy 15, which is in September. They announced an anime series,
Brotherhood.
little kind of
Miniseries?
animated shorts, essentially.
5 episodes.
Brotherhood that deals with Noctis and his gang. Essentially, when they're trying to get to, I can't remember the name of the place where they're trying to get to.
Noctis and the East Side
Dorn.
Boys.
Noctis and the East Side Boys.
Yeah.
The West End Boys, because you can put that song on. But it introduced the Final Fantasy Brotherhood series, and then it also let us know about the Platinum demo. Now the Platinum demo
And a movie, CGI movie.
Oh, then the
Kingblade.
CG movies.
With Lena Headey.
Really?
Aaron Paul.
Breaking
And
Bad.
I didn't hear who the cast was. I just heard the animated movie.
yeah, Lena Headey.
They're all big names.
Aaron Paul is like the antagonist.
There's an older male. I can't remember who.
Oh, Sean Bean. Sean Bean is the king.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, so
And
the
he
king's gonna
gonna
die.
die.
So he's gonna die.
He gonna
I
die.
read a little bit about the story
CB.
of Final Fantasy 15, and it just sort of seems like this time around they are pushing so much behind this game, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe this is their last ditch effort. If this fails, then they're screwed.
Well, here's the
remember
thing.
they were tanking. Like their last few games have been just
Yeah, they haven't been doing too well. But here's the thing, and the for me the most important thing here was the Platinum demo, and it was a playable demo on the PS4 that you can download like the day of the Final Fantasy of Uncovered event, and you could download, you could play it. And what was so great about it is that you played the cool system, and then it felt and it was almost exactly like you were playing Kingdom Hearts. And to me, from being a fan of Final Fantasy, I always wanted to play in that universe in the way that Kingdom Hearts
Have you
maneuvered.
played it?
I have not. I've seen a lot of gameplay of
Okay.
it. I haven't played it.
I
myself.
played the demo, and it does really feel like Kingdom Hearts because you have these like cycling combat system type of things. Like you fight with a toy sword in the Platinum demo, and
the
you
little
fight
hammer.
with like a mallet. So it kind of feels kind of Kingdom Heartsy, kind of how what they do in the beginning of their games, like in their tutorials.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an actual Keyblade yet. He has something that kind of looks like a Keyblade. But yeah, it does play like a better running Kingdom Hearts and a more kind of realistic looking Kingdom Hearts.
Dude, it looks fucking amazing. That's the one thing I wanted to say. That when I was watching all these videos and they have that dynamic lighting when he's like stepping on the platform, and it's changing time. You're like, this fucking looks like a cinematic. We're there, bro. Like we've gotten to the game to the point where the game looks like the cinematic, man.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't work on PC because it crashes in PS4.
Not even gonna
The
come out on
PS4.
PC. Not even coming out for PC.
PS4 4.5. Woo, it's gonna be ready for that.
Console master race.
That's
the
a whole
expansion
different
pack.
topic. And
No, but
But-
I'm really looking forward to it because of that. And yours?
As a person, I mean, we have it in another video that we did about the last Final Fantasy 15 demo, which right down there.
God damn me.
You know, sorry if we got to work. I wasn't big into Final Fantasy just because of the turn-based system. I'm not a big turn-based person, unless it's Pokemon, like I said. But if it was like Kingdom Hearts, man, would I play it? Just because I'd be able to play it through. I feel like I'm fighting versus I'm just waiting around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that attracts me to the game. As soon as I saw the first gameplay things when it was first revealed in E3, I was like,
yeah,
okay, I can fucks with this.
full
And then
control.
The more they showed, I'm like, okay, I don't know what they're doing, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last one, I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, I'm
just gonna fucking play it. Like, there's no way I can't play that game.
Yeah, because in your last video, you guys watched the gameplay demo, and there was like a stealth mechanic involved, and different things. So yeah, it's cramming a lot of different elements from different games that are successful, and I think that's what its strategy is. Like, if we just did that, then maybe
Their own
we'll
games,
have
too. Square Enix does DSX, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they also do the Kingdom Hearts, and then they also do the other games.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like they're taking elements for things that people like, and in their own franchise, and they're like, oh, how about we just put... It's kind of like how Rockstar does it, where they'll make all these other games, and put elements into like in was it Manhunt, the targeting system in that,
or Red Dead?
Red Dead, the targeting system in that eventually was incorporated, and also the world, open environments, and the live animals. Threw that into GTA 5, and you're like, whoa! It's just like they're just trying to use. They're incorporating all the other cool shit from other things that they're testing and put into their cash cow.
They're really building up the relationships between these 4 characters.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited not to just kind of like go out and like level up and, you know, beat people up and stuff like that, but like getting to know these characters. I'm definitely going to watch the anime.
I watched the first episode. Fucking solid, dude.
Really? Yeah.
It's like 15 minutes long.
And
I'll link it.
Even just like the car driving around and like just their relationships with each other. So it's like just them talking to each other, the banter that I'm kind of anticipating. I really hope it's like a fully fleshed out story. I maybe like a Final Fantasy X vibe where they're all on like a journey together.
I would fucking love that, dude, because I remember Final Fantasy X.
So who's gonna die out of them?
Oh,
you know they're building that relationship for a reason.
Glenn.
There's a really like K-pop looking one with blonde hair. I think he's the one.
He's a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, what I gathered from gathered from Brotherhood is that the story revolves around Noctis, who's the son of an Imperial from this kingdom that got overthrown by the prevailing kingdom now. So there's 2 kingdoms, one of them got overthrown, and he's the surviving heir to that throne. And that's why they're trying to get him to a certain place, and essentially trying to, because the invading army is like this imperialist army, and they want to rebel against that.
He's a Targaryen.
Yeah, that's essentially...
I think the whole game is him reclaiming his rightful place on the throne.
That's essentially what it feels like. And there's this character that's his mentor character, and that's the K-pop blonde guy. So as you're talking about that, that's very likely the character that, if any character dies, will be the character that dies.
And I love
I would love to go back to this a year from now and be like, fucking do it!
Yeah, and I love their Sid.
Through the heart.
Their Sid in that game. Oh, man.
The female one?
Yeah, I'm all about it.
I'm all about it.
Let's do it. Oh, and they even have it. I think they're going to produce one Audi car or something like that.
It looks
the
like that
actual...
I don't know if you saw. I saw they also have the outfit you can buy their
Jesus
fucking
Christ!
outfits.
They are just fucking throwing money at this right now. And you know what?
That's why it's gonna do so well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Imagine the game gets canned. It was shitty, but man, did it sell!
Everyone bought it and hated it at the same time.
We're gonna do
pre-ordering?
reshoots. It's gonna be
I'm
day 1
probably gonna
DLC.
Wouldn't it just make sense to just get it digitally?
Nah, I'm probably.
Are we going back to this again?
No, I'm not a big digital person, but I mean, if you're gonna have to install it and everything, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a big ass.
I
file.
love looking at the physical copy of the game and just.
This
probably gonna have great artwork on the cover or on the back, and just gonna have some cool shit. Like I want to see it.
I might actually get the deluxe collector's.
Look, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
you can pay it off. $5 down.
$5 down.
$5 down.
I mean, it looks worth it. The statue's cool. Soundtrack, artwork. I'm all
a
about
Final
it.
Fantasy fan, dude.
So it's all good.
And to see something so different in a Final Fantasy game, I'm very much for it. And if it's as big as I'm hoping, and they're pouring so much money into it for a reason, I really hope that it has the length, and I hope the story and the characters have the longevity that Final Fantasy VII has had, and even Final Fantasy X, because it definitely feels like Final Fantasy X in that it feels like this is what reinvigorates the franchise and what puts the franchise forward.
Do you think they're going to follow the trend of other Final Fantasy games where it's going to be like a 15-2 or a 15-3?
To be honest with you,
Noctis returns.
I want to play the game first, and then I'll see whether
Electric
or not,
Boogaloo.
whether or not I want a sequel, or how it's one of those things of how the story plays out. Will there be room for a 2?
Yeah.
15-9.
But let's face it.
If it does really well, there will be a 2.
If it does well, there's going to be a 2 regardless of whether the story lends itself to that or not.
And probably another movie and just... Yeah, they're going to go nuts.
They are,
yeah.
I mean, essentially Square Enix is banking on this has to be as great, and it has to have the same lifespan as Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Like, it just has to.
Well, we don't have to worry about that because Final Fantasy VII is coming out.
In episodes.
Yeah.
That hasn't really been announced officially.
But
I thought it was.
It's happening.
Oh, they were thinking about it, right?
Yeah, it was
Hey,
like...
let's see, man, when it's rumored nowadays, it's fucking true.
Yeah, but...
I mean, maybe.
The internet never lies.
Usually, it's true.
No.
You see those,
it's
we'll talk about
true.
this next time. We'll talk about this off camera. But those Mass Effect leaks.
Woo, buddy. So on that note, we're going to end the podcast today. And just go ahead and Google Mass Effect leaks. Laters, y'all.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.